today's the day. We're going to do some life updates. I have a couple we're going to mention. I'm going to put in some story times in there as well. I was going to wait until Sunday's upload, but I thought, you know what? Let's just sit down and film this now and get it out of the way. So I don't have to wait too much longer. So, let's just get into this. We'll start with the one that happened first. So, I think about a couple weeks ago now, I went to my first dentist appointment since freshman year of high school. Now, I hated saying that, you know, but so much time has passed, it's just kind of like, whatever at this point, you know. Even though I still hate it, you know, but. So, that appointment, they did x-rays. I don't know if anyone has ever had that done. I don't know if it's always been the same. But that's not a fun experience. They used 2 different cameras, like a little smaller one, and then a little bit of a bigger one to where I had to bite down. And then they take the picture. That one I hated. Again, 0 out of 10. But I mean, they were done, so whatever. Now again, I don't know if it's always been the same or not. But when the pictures come up, now in the room they had a TV. You can see what they were looking at or on their laptop. And when you are looking at those pictures, especially in color, it's kind of wild. I mean, like the x-rays themselves, you know, that black and white, you know, infrared kind of looking thing, that's kind of wild too, but not as wild as looking at the colored ones. So here comes a little bit of a story time. I mention this every now and again, but not too much. So I was not born with the most perfect set of these. Don't know why, but that's just how it worked out for me. Now, I mean, the top took a little while to even grow in. And I can tell, definitely, there's one picture in particular that I can think of. I don't remember. I'm not exactly sure how old I was at that point. But you can tell. And again, it's weird. It's wild, you know. So, come 5th grade, I was bullied for it. Bullied for that, let alone, you know, how they grew in, basically. And still to this day, first of all, I think to myself of stuff I wish I should have said, could have said. But also thinking to myself, first, do you think I not know this? And 2, why does my issues bother you so much? Like, the math isn't mathing here. Karen, you know, I don't get it. That's just always kind of wild to me, you know. I think about that every now and again. And it's just like, that's weird energy. So, after all of that, they mentioned the possibility of getting braces. Now, that right there, I kind of felt a I told them all of what I went through, had been through with this whole situation. These have been, like I said, my insecurities for as long as I can remember. Maybe up to that point, 5th grade, maybe even before, I don't remember. But they at one point became an insecurity. Should they have? No. Do I still care to this day what people think? God, no. Hell, if I didn't care then, I'm not caring now. I mean, why? What's the point? Why point out one little thing that shouldn't even bother you so much? Why? Why point it out? I mean, I don't know. So, fingers crossed that happens at some point down the road. Because I wish I could have gotten them then. But unfortunately, that's not how life worked out. Didn't have the money. Couldn't. So I was living with this whole situation, of course, until now. Well, I don't know when, but... So, again, fingers crossed that happens at some point, and I can feel more confident, that when I take a picture, I can actually smile and not have to worry about what anyone thinks. Even though, again, I technically don't, but I know there's people out there who are going to talk their you-know-what, and, again, think that I don't already know. Times, this generation is just weird. I always wish that I could go back to a time before social media existed. Only thing you did on a computer was play games, solitaire, free cell, Minesweep, that ticked me off. Let's see, pinball. We had Eggman on ours. The list goes on. Didn't have to worry about any troll coming into the comments, pointing out one little thing that shouldn't matter, and talking their you-know-what. You lived during that time too. You get what I mean? It made me feel old for saying it, but just... Alright, life update number 2. The same time, a couple weeks ago, pretty much the day after. I think this was the 16th. A few weeks, however long it's been. It's a while that we're in July already. So, the day after I had that deep cleaning appointment, again, I had an ultrasound done on my neck. Now, let me give you a little bit of a story time before we dive into it. 10 years ago, around this time, I was going through my whole, allergic reaction stuff. This was still back in Louisville. Before we moved, of course. Because the insulin that my new doctor that I had gave me an allergic reaction. Like I said, I was breaking out, and not a fun time. If I can erase that part of 2016, that would be great. That was hell. In the hospital 4 times, 2 weeks. First 2 times, the blood sugars, they were too low. The last couple times, they were too high. I cried that final time. Literally. The nurse, she gave me a hug and told me they were gonna help me. Now, granted, I think that final day, I was blamed for the issue. My diet. That's for another time. Anyway, so I will always remember that first question that doctor asked me at that point was, has anyone ever told you that your neck is big? No, not that I recall. So that started like multiple stuff done. You know, I don't remember if it was blood work, like to check those levels, or the thyroid levels, or if it started the ultrasounds and then a biopsy, or the whichever one it was. I had them all done. So once we had all those done, biopsy, I think was maybe the first one that they did. Probably. No. Anyway, I'm getting so sidetracked. They had found a nodule on my right thyroid. So after getting that biopsy done, thankfully when the results came back, it was benign, not cancerous. So that at least was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. You know, because so after going through all of that, we had the surgery date all good, all ready to go. That I think was originally supposed to be the beginning of June that year. But since I was going through my allergic reaction stuff, I didn't get out of the hospital that final time until the day before I was supposed to have it originally. So that didn't happen. They waited until the end of July that year to get it done, to have the surgery. So thankfully that was all said and done when that day finally came. Still not a fun time recovering, but you have people staring at you and it's just like, I'm sorry I have to wear this, you know, but I don't want any more issues to come of this, you know. I don't need all of that again. I had already been in the hospital so many times prior that I didn't need more, you know, let alone some kind of infection or whatever. So let's fast forward to this time around. So again, I had the ultrasound done. Now after this point, the first time, you know, the surgery and all that, everything was coming back okay. You know, everything had looked fine. I think they started off as like maybe weeks or something like that, and then it turned into a year, and then at that point it turned into a couple. So they ended up stopping, I think, for some reason I'm thinking at least a few years ago, because again, everything was looking fine. Nothing had changed in the last, again, not even 10 years at that point. So the doctor that I have now here noticed that it was still looking full, even though my tests and everything were coming back looking fine. He still wanted just to make sure. Thought, okay, that's fine, you know, great, let's get this done. So me and my mom go to the hospital and all of that, get that done. I had to wait, I think, the next week. I think that Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, my doctor called me. I called them back. And the lady that I talked to told me that he found another nodule. Same side. Now, those words right there when she started that, my heart sank to my stomach. Because I am thinking to myself, please, God, don't let me go through this again. You know, I kind of want that first surgery to be my last. You know, I had never had a surgery before in my life until that point 10 years ago. But then she went on to being like, but it didn't look concerning. Now, I'm guessing maybe that means it hasn't grown. Probably. And that I would just need to get another one done in a year. So, granted, that was another weight lifted. You know, it still has me thinking ever since that point. Like, I get you say it doesn't look too concerning, but as someone who has went through this before, I don't want it to look concerning at all. I mean, I don't know how long it had been there, obviously. But, again, fingers crossed that continues to still look not concerning. Because again, I don't want to go through all of that again. I mean, I think that first 2-3 nights maybe after I had that done, the surgery, I slept on the couch. It was hard for me to lay down in my own bed. Couldn't lift over, I think, 15 pounds or something like that. You know? And, yeah. Again, I don't want to go through it. I'm praying to God that it continues to not look concerning, so on and so forth, you know? So, everyone keep your fingers crossed, you know, as months go on and so forth. So, those are my 2 life updates. Granted, the first one was, you know, I decided to start with the good news, you know. Granted, the second one wasn't really all that bad, but still, I'm probably going to be worrying about it for who knows how long. So, you know, still, keep your fingers crossed, say a prayer, do some kind of lucky dance, whatever it might be. Whatever works for you. And just keep those positive vibes going. Honestly, for both. Because, yeah. So, there's that. I was gonna say I hope you enjoyed, but I mean, so until next time, stay safe out there, and I will see you guys in the next